Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's session on inclusive play, supporting children with disabilities in gym daycare settings. I'm Angela Miller, and I'm excited to walk you through practical ways to create welcoming, supportive environments for all children, especially those with disabilities, in our gym daycare programs. Every child deserves the chance to play, grow, and feel safe. Inclusion isn't just a buzzword, it's essential. When we include children with disabilities in meaningful ways, we're supporting their development and also teaching all kids empathy, patience, and acceptance. Parents today are looking for childcare providers who truly welcome all children. Creating inclusive environments makes your gym more family-friendly, accessible, and trusted. Because every child deserves access to safe and joyful play. And by creating safe, inclusive spaces, you're promoting development and providing a space for families to care for their own health and be part of the community. Disabilities can take many forms. Some are visible, like mobility or medical needs. Others are invisible, such as autism, ADHD, or sensory processing disorders. What's most important to remember is that every child is unique. Try not to focus on the label. Focus on the strengths, needs, and ways to support them in play. You may not always know a child has a disability, but you can always be ready to support diverse needs with flexibility and compassion. Let's talk about what children with disabilities might need in your specific context. Physical accessibility means keeping walkways clear and ensuring that toys and equipment are safe and reachable. Sensory-friendly options can include quiet corners, soft lighting, or noise-reducing headphones that help keep kids regulated when they get a little overstimulated or overwhelmed. Predictable routines and expectations also help children feel secure. Visual schedules or simple posted rules can reduce anxiety. And providing positive behavior support means guiding kids gently, offering choices, and keeping expectations clear and consistent. Not every child communicates verbally, and some children have a hard time understanding spoken direction. It's okay. Here are some tips to help you communicate when you feel like a child's having a hard time understanding exactly what you're saying to them. Use short, clear, direct sentences. Get rid of all the fluffy language. Slow your speech pattern. Talk in a calm, neutral voice. Pair your words with gestures or other visuals, such as sign language when possible. Use visual supports like pictures of activities or emotions. That can really help kids understand what you're trying to get across. And most importantly, give kids a little extra time to process and respond. Some children just take an extra beat or two to understand what you're trying to communicate to them. Patience goes a long way, as well as learning just a few basic signs that a lot of children use in their day-to-day life. All behavior is communication. When a child is acting out, they may be trying to tell us they're overwhelmed, confused, or need connection. Instead of reacting with punishment, we can redirect calmly. Offering choices like, do you want to build with blocks or color, gives kids a sense of control. And when we respond with curiosity instead of frustration, we can help children feel safe and supported. You might see a lot of negative behavior as a form of communication. For example, my own daughter has bitten because she's frustrated that she's not understood. And it could be something like she needs water or she's hungry or a diaper change that the caregiver's just not understanding that leads to an outburst or frustration. So I would highly suggest we always check basic needs first. If you see a child becoming overwhelmed or acting out, are they thirsty? Are they fed? Are they dry and clean? What do they need? And then go from there and respond with connection and patience. Safety should always come first, especially when supporting kids with disabilities. Make sure you have a plan in place for medical needs, any emergency procedures, and quick communication with families should an emergency arise. Ask parents about allergies, medical devices, or safety concerns when they drop off. And it really would be helpful, especially if a child has not a visual disability, so they have autism or sensory processing. Use a name tag or some way to remind all staff members that that child has some unique needs and they need a little extra care. They're not going to respond the same way as others. And if you have a new person come in the room that doesn't know that child, they need access to that information. So having a way to identify the needs of that child quickly and remind all staff that that child has needs can be so important and help that child meet with success in your environment. All right, so that brings us to partnering with families, because families are the experts in their children. A quick check-in with parents can make a huge difference. Ask them what works for home, what helps during transition, and what their child enjoys. Talk to them about how their child communicates and try to learn how to understand that child. It's also super helpful for a lot of parents if you share a highlight from the time that they were with you. Just a little positive note builds trust and makes this feel like a safe, supportive environment for everybody. Be open and curious and non-judgmental. Remember, you're all on the same team, trying to make the space work both for the child and so the family has access to your gym space as well. As we start to wrap up, I really want to talk about some practical things that you can do to make your gym childcare a little bit more inclusive for children with disabilities. Number one would be to create a quiet, safe, cozy space where children can escape if they start to become overstimulated by the environment. This can be somewhere that maybe has some dim lighting or soft pillows, somewhere that they can get away from activity and noise and just sensory stimulation that sometimes comes with a lot of children running around and playing. I also highly suggest that you use picture schedules and rules, because this helps children know how to expect transitions, what might be coming next, and what their expectations are. Again, visual processing sometimes takes priority over auditory processing and gives them the information in an accessible way. Also, I would say allow children to bring their tools into your space, whether it's a chewy necklace, a fidget, or noise-canceling headphones. These tools are often necessities for children to be successful. And finally, modify activities if a child is struggling. Roll the ball instead of throw it. Let them sit instead of stand. There's little ways that you can modify tasks or activities to make them inclusive and allow children with disabilities to participate in what your group might be doing. If a child can't tell you what they need, it's your job to look for clues and find ways to support them. And always remember, behavior is communication. So do your best to figure out what the child is communicating instead of punishing them because they're frustrated and can't get their point across. Inclusion is all about belonging, and small, thoughtful changes can have a big impact on a child's experience and therefore the experience of their families within your gym. You don't need to be a specialist or a teacher to make a difference. You just need compassion, flexibility, and a willingness to learn. Thank you so much for going through this brief training and being part of this movement towards more inclusive play. Feel free to reach out if you would like any additional training or resources or have any questions at all. My email is right here at angela@wonderfullymadeadvocacy.com. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. Just please shoot me a message. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.